Yeah, greetings, Pulpit.
It is Level Up, and we're joined on the line by Mantsha Pheeha. Tisha, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mpo, and good afternoon to the listeners.
Are you good?
I'm very well, and you?
I'm good.
That's
I'm
great to
very
hear.
Well. Lovely. What do you have for us today? What are you dishing out?
So today I want us to talk about rebuilding your career after failure. How do you go about if whether you were fired or you're just not doing well and it's known? How do you rebuild? How do you change the perception that people in the company, in the industry have about you so that you can start again and rebuild your career?
Sure. This is going to help a lot of people.
Yes, it will.
Definitely. Let's get straight into it.
So the funny thing is, since yesterday when I'm poor, I've started learning how to swim at my big age.
Wow.
So I did.
How's the voice got last year? Yo, I'm so happy.
So I did my first lesson yesterday.
Yeah.
And today I did my second lesson. Yesterday when I did the lesson, I was so excited. I mean, I was so nervous. I even prayed for myself. But when I don't laugh. But when I got there, I mean, I was catching on so quickly, Mpo. I was so excited. I was floating. I mean, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was not afraid of the water. And then today I had to go back because my lessons are Wednesdays and Thursdays. I want to learn fast. So today when I arrived, man, I'm tired, Madam Poman. I'm tired. It seems like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. My legs, I don't have that excitement from yesterday. I feel like this thing is dragging. I kept asking my instructor, are we done yet? Are we done yet? You know, so the excitement from yesterday was no longer there. And over while I was in the pool swimming, I had to remind myself why I'm here. I had to remind myself that I don't want to be that girl who holds on to the wall on holiday, because that was me.
Yeah.
So I reminded myself that I want to snorkel when other people are snorkeling and watching the fish. I don't want to sit and ask them, what did you see? What was there? What did you see? So, but the reason, Mpo, why I'm learning to swim is because when I was younger, I had taught myself to swim. So I knew how to swim. But one day when we were in Villa Villa with my family, my dad and I were in the pool. And I don't remember what happened, but I just started sinking. And by the time I started sinking, my mother, who could not swim, was on the side of the pool. My dad was inside the pool with me. And I mean, everybody knew that I could swim. So my mom stood up and started shouting that I'm drowning. And it took a while for my dad to get to me. And then finally my dad got to me, managed to get me out of the water, and we all avoided an accident. But since that day, Mpo, I stopped being able to swim. So it's not that I forgot the techniques I knew when I was younger. I just became so afraid of putting my head underwater. I mean, to the point that even when I'm in the shower, I don't want the water to be on my face for too long.
Yeah.
So failure or an accident, one of the key things that it does for you is it is a traumatic event. And that's something that most of us don't want to accept, that if you are at work and you are failing at something that seems to be coming naturally to everyone else. Like people, men, are just progressing in their careers. They're just finding jobs, man. They are just passing. They are just doing well. But for some strange reason, something that comes naturally to other people is difficult for you to do. So, because Mpo, that incident is not like a car accident, which is big, which is immediate. The impact is now. The impact can be seen by everyone, and the injuries are visible. The blood is here. The damage and the wreckage is here. So, in an accident, everyone acknowledges that you have had a trauma. But when it comes to failure, because in many cases, failure is gradual. Failure happens over time. Failure is subtle. So people don't recognize that you are actually going through a traumatic event. They think because it was slow, it reduces the trauma. So even you, the person that is struggling with your career, you don't realize that actually, emotionally, you are traumatized. Psychologically, You are traumatized. You've lost your self-confidence. Your esteem is low. You no longer want to take risks. You no longer want to raise your hand. You don't want to take the initiative. You don't want to expose yourself. That is the result of the trauma. So if you've gone through a situation where your career failed and maybe it resulted in being fired, or you were on performance management, or maybe, you are just known. No, don't ask Mantsha. Mantsha doesn't know anything. You know how even when you say something, they don't even hear you. They're just like, Mantsha, hey, she just gets paid. There's nothing we can do. Hey, she's here. We've hired her. She's our mistake. It's fine. Or she's our community project. It's fine. We'll just pay her salary. But she'll never go anywhere. If you are that person and your career is there, I just want you to take a moment and acknowledge that emotionally, psychologically, and for some people, even physically, you are affected. For some people, when you have to make a contribution, I think we spoke about this another time when we were talking about performance anxiety, you start sweating, all of a sudden you are stammering. You never stammer, but all of a sudden, I just wanted to say, but that's not how you speak. So physically, the trauma that you went through, it's exhibiting itself even physically in how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you walk. Some people, just before an important meeting or an important report, presentation, whatever, they start having a literal running stomach. So instead of you presenting to your boss, you are like, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. And it's like, hey, what's happening with this person now? So we need to acknowledge the trauma that has resulted from our failures. And failure is 2 ways, or maybe 3 ways. One, it could be because you are not competent in whatever it is that you are doing. But the second thing, you are in a wrong environment. You work in an environment that constantly oppresses you. That environment is just conducive for anxiety. The environment itself, it's as if it is cooking the anxiety. So even if you are fine, as soon as you walk into this environment, maybe your boss shouts a lot. Maybe your boss is always threatening to fire you. They always give you examples. Do you want to be like whoever who used to be here, who's gone now? Then the third thing, it could be that you are either lazy, you don't apply yourself, or you don't believe you are capable. So it's something fundamentally that you believe about yourself that ends up impacting the way you show up at your work. So once you have accepted that, okay, I'm dealing with certain emotional, psychological, physical things, then you can determine on your own, do I need help or can I resolve this thing on my own? So we must never ever undermine the power that we have to resolve things on our own. We have what it takes. You can research on your own. You can teach yourself certain things on YouTube. You can read certain things on your own. You can even be mentored by a person who is not here, simply by following their programs, whether they have podcasts, etc., etc. So for most of us, you have the capacity and the capability to be able to resolve it without external help. But if you need external help, that's when you will see a coach, you'll see a mentor. Sometimes you may even need to see a psychologist. As children of God, you may need to see a pastor, an elder, someone who is in leadership in your church to assist you. So don't feel bad that what used to come naturally for you or to you no longer comes naturally. When I was talking about my swimming example, when I was younger, no one had taught me how to swim. I had taught myself intuitively. And the reason why it has taken me so long to go for swimming lessons is because in my mind I was like, no man guys, I used to know this thing. If I just allow myself, I will learn it again because I used to know it anyway. But after all these years, I had to accept that I cannot do this thing without any help. So if you are in a situation like mine, where you're saying, but I used to know maths, guys. I used to know English. I used to know business. I used to know ministry. I used to know this thing that I'm doing. Musicians are a very good example. I have so many friends and that I used to know at high school. They were like musician number one. They were the best vocalists at high school or at tertiary. Now when I meet them, they will say things like, hey, since my pregnancy, my voice is no longer the same. So you have not lost the gift. The only thing is when you were younger, it used to come naturally to you. Now that you are older, chances are you need to find a voice coach, you need to find help, you need to go for training. So now all of a sudden, it may seem like you are going back. But what you will realize is you will learn techniques now that you were not using, that you did not know when you were much younger. There's something that sometimes we take for granted. In English, they will call it beginner's luck. But for me as a child of God, I call it the grace when you are beginning. When you are beginning, it seems that God is giving you additional grace to be able to go through that start. I mean, I remember my first sermon. Yes, I had prepared thoroughly, but there was just an additional grace that I had that said to me, yes, you are a preacher. Yes, you can do this thing. But a couple of sermons later, I realized that I had to prepare more than I did when I was starting out. So when you were younger or earlier, when it seemed that certain things were coming naturally for you, it may be because of beginner's luck. It may be because you didn't have experience. Actually, it never crossed your mind that you could drown and die. You know how children would be going to... Yes, children, when they go to the deep end, they're not thinking they will drown. When you are an adult, the water comes up to your waist, but you think you are going to drown, and you won't drown. So it's very important then that don't worry too much and say, but I used to be good at this thing, but I used to deliver this thing effortlessly. 3 years ago, I was really good at this thing. This is not 3 years ago. This is a different time. And for you to go past your incompetence, you need to ensure that you are getting training in an area where initially it was coming to you naturally. The last part, Mpo, is I just want to talk about doing the hard work of learning.
To play. We're going to take a little bit of a break and then make our way back. I think we wait to select the right song. With the light. I know you're going to love it. Let's play the song and then make our way back on the other side.